Quick PSA for you guys today. Today's show was filmed actually a little bit ago. It was filmed right before Week 18, and I never got a chance to publish it because Joe Woods got fired, and then we were doing Joe Woods replacements, and I've had it on the shelf, but I've wanted to put it out there. So just a little bit of a heads up, it was filmed before Jadeveon Clowney said 95% chance I won't come back, which is kind of a fun time machine because I kind of predicted that anyway. So if things sound a little bit odd or a little bit off, that's why. It was filmed right before Week 18 against the Steelers. But enjoy today's free agent show. Coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about the upcoming Browns free agents and who I think Andrew Berry will bring back in 2023 and who he lets walk. Welcome in, by the way, to the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here. And today's show is partially inspired by Zach Jackson, who's a great Browns follower on Twitter, does a lot of great content for them for The Athletic, and he put out an article running through the Browns' pending free agents who's playing their last game in an orange helmet Sunday. And it kind of got me wondering, okay, let's look at the upcoming free agent class for Cleveland, right? Who is who's on the last year of their contract, and who's coming back, and who the Browns are going to let walk. So we're going to go through all the names, and I'll kind of give you my stab at what I think ultimately happens. First one up. Jacoby Brissett. I think he's gone. I think he played so well this year that he's going to be a starting quarterback, maybe for a team like the Texans, the Colts, the Panthers, who draft a quarterback in round one, and they want to bring Brissett in to kind of walk that quarterback along. That way they're not just kind of tossed to the wolves in week one. So Brissett this year has been great. Honestly, if you wanted to come back next year, he had to play not as good so that he can be Watson's backup, but I'm happy for him. He obviously did a lot of great things for the Browns this year. I don't think anyone walks away from this season going, dang, Jacoby Brissett's the guy the reason we didn't make the playoffs. No, Brissett played way better than I expected. I mean, all takes exposed. I was way wrong on Brissett. So apology to you, Jacoby. In fact, I think you can make the argument that Jacoby Brissett, despite only playing in 12 games this year, that's one of the best single seasons for a Browns quarterback since 1999, right? Baker's on there twice. I got Derek Anderson, Hoyer. It's not tough competition. Who are we kidding here? But I do think Jacoby Brissett did his job and then some. So I think he's probably having a single season top 5 performance. Doesn't say a whole lot, unfortunately. But hey, if I told you before the year, the best free agent quarterback pickup this year would be Jacoby Brissett, you probably wouldn't have believed me. All right, moving on here. Player number 2, Kareem Hunt. I also think he's gone too. He's an older running back. He's 27 years old, on the last year of his contract, and he's sort of been phased out of the offense a little bit. I mean, that's not completely true, but he's not getting the touches maybe he would have liked or would have expected. This year for Kareem Hunt, it's been a down year, right? Who are we kidding? It has not been the year Kareem Hunt has hoped for. And it also is kind of segued or tied into this. Jerome Ford, the Browns drafted him to replace Kareem Hunt, to give him a year head start on some rookie running back and be the next, right behind Dearness Johnson next year, which is a little sneak preview. I think Dearness Johnson's coming back. But Jerome Ford this year, in the preseason, he was great. The regular season, he had 5 carries against Washington. That right there was a little bit of a sign of, maybe it's not so much of resting Kareem Hunt. It's more so, let's give this Jerome Ford guy some touches. He's probably going to be in for a decent workload next season. Third player here is Ethan Pocic. I think he's likely coming back. I can't say for sure, though. Coming off a knee injury, which is a little bit of a worrisome thing, but it wasn't serious, right? He missed 4 games, so it's not like it's a torn ACL or anything. But Ethan Pocic this year has been really, really good. I think we all know this. Ethan Pocic has been one of the best centers in football. And the Browns, I don't know if they're married to Nick Harris, who was supposed to be this team's starting center. So if I had to guess, I think Pocic is going to get a contract kind of like this year. 2-year contract worth $15 million. Half of it's guaranteed. You don't see centers unless they're like in the top 3, which PFF he was this year. But unless you're in that top tier centers, there's a big pay drop off. And that's probably why Pocic, you might go, what, he's only going to get a 2-year deal? I don't know if Andrew Berry is rushing to link or ink another offensive lineman to a whole lot of money. He's done that with Conklin, Teller, Batonio. something tells me he's not interested in making a fourth lineman very highly paid either. So I think it's going to be in this range, and that's why I think it's likely back, because maybe Pocic gets more money elsewhere, right? Maybe he gets 3 years, $19 million or something from another team, and he goes, you know what? I'll take that 3-year contract instead. Moving on here, Jadeveon Clowney, I think he's likely gone. I don't think it's absolute, because Clowney has not played well enough this year to probably get a lot of attention from other teams. So if he enters free agency and doesn't get a whole lot of phone calls, and it's like June and July, and he goes, you know what? I was holding out for more money. I never got it. Yeah, I'll come back to Cleveland for cheap, because the Browns may decide we're going to go like opposite Myles Garrett, defensive end by committee. Isaiah Thomas, Alex Wright, Chase Winovich, Clowney. We'll kind of rotate those guys and not spend a whole lot of money at that position, and instead do that for Daron Payne on the interior D-line. I'll talk more about Clowney and other free agents in just a second, but we've got an awesome deal right now at Fanatics. I've talked to you guys before about it. Still on sale. Not quite sure how, to be honest with you, but get started right now, or get your awesome Deshaun Watson jersey on sale at chatsports.com/Watson jersey. That link for everyone is in the comments and the description of today's show. All right, fifth player here. I'm kind of going in order of like relevance, if you haven't noticed. Anthony Walker, 50-50. I think it's a coin toss, right? He's played 2 seasons for the Browns. He has shown that he is a very important leader and key of this defense right in the middle. But in 2 seasons, he's been hurt twice. So is Andrew Berry desperate to bring him back for year 3 and have him miss more time? Injuries are unpredictable, but there are some guys, for whatever reason, that are, moth to a light. They just tend to radiate towards missing time more often than other players do. Now, with the Browns, 126 tackles and 1 sack over a season, a little over 1 season compared to, combining the games he played in 2021 and 2022. I'm 50-50 on it. I don't have a good answer for you. If I really had to pick which side I'm leaning he comes back on a 1-year, $4 million contract, which is tough because he probably would have gotten a lot more money if he played out the rest of this year, but he's coming off a bad injury. That's going to hurt your value for sure. Let's run through some more free agents now. Dearness Johnson, I think he's coming back, especially with Hunt going. I think Johnson's not going to get a whole lot of money this offseason, right? So I could see the Browns easily bringing him back to back up Nick Chubb. Taven Bryan next up here. I think Taven Bryan's probably gone. This unit needs some revamping, and I don't think running it back with Taven Bryan is probably the best decision here. If I had to guess, the 2023 defensive tackles for the Browns is going to be 4-man crew with Perrion Winfrey pretty much being a lock. A draft pick. I hope it's the 2nd round pick, but a draft pick for sure. Some free agent like Taven Bryan. And then probably a camp battle between Elliott and Togiai. And I'm leaning Elliott. I don't think both of them make the roster next year. So if I had to guess, those are your 4 defensive tackles in 2023. Next player up here, Deion Jones. Maybe back? Who really knows? Deion Jones was traded from Atlanta. Kind of a sluggish start. And then as all the other Browns linebackers got hurt, Deion Jones quietly became the more consistent theme of a good linebacker. He's up in the H column, and he's a coverage guy who's starting to lose his coverage abilities, which impacts what his best ability is or best skill set is. But your guess is as good as mine in this one. It's kind of like the rest of the linebackers. It's going to be a lot of interesting decisions for Andrew Berry to make here. Speaking of linebackers, Takitaki, 50-50. Right? I think it's just like Anthony Walker, where coming off an injury, Takitaki, I thought was, borderline, not roster guy coming in this season, but really needed to show why he could get a second contract with Cleveland. And after that Bengals game, I think it was a Bengals game, yeah, he was definitely en route to getting a second contract. Unfortunately, an injury not long after, ended the season, and now I don't know what the Browns want to do. Do they want to re-sign someone coming off a big injury? Do they want to kind of just reset the clock a little bit and go young? I know this much. There are only 3 Cleveland Browns linebackers right now currently rostered to be on the team next year. JOK, Tony Fields, and Jacob Phillips. So some of these guys are either going to have to come back or be replaced in the draft and free agency. Next notable name that's a free agent, Greedy Williams. He's gone, right? He's fallen behind A.J. Green on the depth chart. He's a healthy scratch. hardly played much this year. Adios. I think the Browns would have hoped that he could have played a little bit better so that maybe he got the Cleveland Browns a comp pick. Doesn't really feel like that's going to happen. So Greedy, there's no way he's coming back. I don't see it happening. All right, let's look at the rest of the other free agents now. I'll kind of go through this really quickly here. Some like lower key names here. Chris Hubbard, they brought him back once. Maybe they do it twice. I don't know. Probably not. Michael Dunn, I think, is gone. Pharaoh Brown, I think they're going to bring him back. He's done pretty well this year. And if they look to maybe move on from Harrison Bryant, that could be the guy. Jesse James, he's been on IR this year. He's gone. Chase Winovich, back with a question mark. Andrew Berry traded for him, so he wants him to work out, and he got a sack last week, so maybe he ends the year on a high note, leaves a good taste in Andrew. Oh, that sounded weird. But maybe he, leaves a good impression, and he comes back. Stephen Weatherly, he's been on IR since August. He's probably gone. Jordan Kunaszyk and Reggie Ragland, these two guys have played pretty well the last couple of weeks with a lot of injuries. I bet they come back next year, and they're on the practice squad. Reggie Ragland, clap it up for him. What was it, former second-round pick? He has played really well down the stretch the last couple of weeks. So, kudos to you. Ronnie Harrison, D'Anthony Bell's getting snaps over him when it comes to a third safety. That probably says where the coaching staff stands on Harrison. He's gone. And then Corey Bojorquez, I have him likely back. The only reason why I'm not going to say definitively back for the reigning AFC Special Teams Player of the Week, if the Browns move on from Mike Prefer, might the new special teams coordinator want to bring his own punter in? You know what I mean? That's the only real path I see for Bojorquez not coming back. But who do you think the Browns should bring back? We ran through, 20 names right there? Pretty sure I got everyone. Let me know who you think is the most crucial player for the Browns to re-sign in free agency.